Besides money, what did your agent initially tell you, Shirley? I recommend against doing this film. And how did the conversation go of you overriding him?
Well, he's Sicilian, my agent. The rest I can't tell you because we would be raided. But he was furious. And he's only about 5'2", and he has his associations, and so do I. Never mind, Joe. You don't want to know this part.
I do, and everybody here wants to know, Shirley.
Now,
You're amongst friends.
Yeah, right. Anyway, he threatened and called them and berated them and he just did everything. It didn't matter. It didn't help. I have to tell you, and it's all in the book. You'll get the biggest kick out of it if you read it because it's so friggin' funny. The guy who, I won't say his name, and I've disguised his name in the book. He's an investor, so-called. And he put in 3.5 million. And he said, all right, I'm putting in the 3.5 million, which was practically the whole budget. If you cast this particular person who was his, I don't think mistress, I don't know, but a girlfriend. And where do I start this story? Okay, and then he said, and I want to rewrite, and the part that is Carlos, you have to make Carlita. So the director, you don't play with Hollywood smarts, really, with that kind of stuff. So he said, all right, we will make Carlos Carlita, but we will, I can say it?
Yes.
We're going to call her Carlita Cutface. That seemed to be okay with her. So then I kind of knew, what she did for a living or something. And anyway, we were in the so-called green room one night. Hadn't shot because we didn't have the money to shoot, but this one night we did. And I somehow, in my way, was asking her about her relationship with this investor. And she said, who? Turns out she didn't even know who I was talking about. Kind of fascinating. So I don't know what his fantasy was. Certainly unsatisfying. And so they rewrote. I frankly thought it was 18 lines, which was the first title of this book, to be called 18 Lines. Later, the director told me, no, it was 18 pages of rewrite for Carlita face. That's a big deal. That was 144 lines, basically. That's a huge thing to do to a writer-director. We shot it. She was awful. The financier threatened to sue because the director cut a few lines. So then the director said, well, okay, let me show you the whole thing. So we put everything back together, ran it for the investor, and the investor said, this is terrible. And the director said, well, you want it? You still want it in? No. So what I had said to Andy, the director, was, why don't you just go ahead and shoot it? You can't understand a word she's saying, and you write your own, what do you call it? Subtitles. No, not subtitles. You write your own, what do you call it? Yeah, the line that's the dialogue. Make up your own. Make it about Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. I don't care. And they won't know the difference because she's speaking this undecipherable language. But in the meantime, apparently she was pretty bad and had to be cut anyway. And the financier basically went away. Now, that didn't absolve the poor producer who was taking orders from the financier because she wanted this to be completed. And, you know, you'll do anything to get the movie done, well, almost anything. And so I had to go into an investigation of what kind of attitude, what kind of emotional trauma and turmoil she must have been going through, knowing we all knew what was happening. And Jessica Lange and Demi Moore and I, well, first of all, the crew and the office, the kind of basic office, started being very nice to us. Kind of sucking up, you know? I thought, oh, okay, they want us to defer. And that's exactly what happened. So we had a little money, kind of get on the plane money, and then we weren't paid, and all of our people were telling us, come home. Lots of funny scenes about threatening to go to the airport and get on the plane and come back. In the meantime, the director would say, no, come to work. No, you can't. We haven't got money to pay the cab drivers. You see what I mean? This is what it was like.
Do you think because of all this mixture together, this perfect storm, that the cast and crew basically became closer than family?
Oh, absolutely.
Under the circumstances, financial, everything, learning just to survive, threatening to walk off, everything possible that could go wrong,
Crew never did that. I'll tell you why. Interesting to the literary world. They had all read my book, The Camino. And they were a lot of ours crew, so they were a very excellent Spanish crew. But they had read my trek across Spain, the Santiago de Compostela trek I'd done, and I'm at 65. I did that, and I'm now 80 shooting this movie with no money to eat. And they came to me and said, we're sticking here. We have no money either. We're paying for our own food and expenses because of you. And we appreciate what you did and that you're here and you're still here. We're going to stick with you.
Amazing.
And that was really wonderful.